then, Amy, when I tattooed you, teaching you depth, we did your leg.
Yes.
I have a picture of it still.
Yeah.
I think I posted on Instagram quite a while back. And so share what you noticed with that. And there was no pigment on the needle. It was a dry needle.
That's right. So you guys had said with depth, like we tell you so much, but it's something you kind of have to learn on your own. We can only like teach you so much. You have to kind of figure it out. So, okay, you're going to tattoo your leg. And when you tattooed my leg, I tattooed a separate spot and it was like all red. And I'm like, man, why is it like so red? They're like, well, what do you think it looks like underneath like your eyebrow and underneath like your body tattoos? It's the skin has trauma, so it's red. But the pigment that we apply to the needle and do the brows with, it covers up that redness. So that's why you have to implant that pigment at a proper depth so the redness is covered up and it's not there. I'm like, oh, wow. Like I didn't know any of this. I'd never been tattooed with no ink or no pigment before. So it was kind of like a mind-blowing thing for me. And I'm like, man, I don't want girls coming in here with like pink or red eyebrows. Like what a horrible thing to wake up to.
Yeah. And it can be pink. It can, like I said, it can be purple. It can be
orange.
It can be orange. I mean, it depends on their undertone. You know, everybody's scar tissue is a little bit different colors, you know. I talk about this in depth on my color theory course. But I think, you know, I would encourage, you know, these young techs, and keep in mind too, this is another thing I wanted to point out, that a lot of like this generation of techs, they're not full time. They're lash girls, they're beauty industry girls, and they're doing this very part time. And there's nothing wrong with coming from another industry at all. That's not my point. My point is that they're not in skin enough. You know, I know I always say to you girls, you know, when you're learning, and all my apprentices, I don't care if you have to discount them way down to zero. I'd rather you're in here on skin making zero than you going 2 or 3 weeks with nothing, because you're not going to advance, evolve, and develop if you've got these big, huge gaps. And I think that's the other thing that's going on, you know, is the PMU industry right now is way oversaturated. There's just, and so many people are complaining on the boards all over social media that they can't get a clientele, and, you know, they're super slow. And so I just think, you know, this young generation of techs are being taught improper techniques.
Yeah.
So they don't get great results. But I'm here to tell you, so sorry, but not sorry. That's part of learning. That's part of the process.
Welcome to the haze.
Welcome to the haze. Welcome to PMU. That's part of learning the craft, do you know? And I think a lot of people don't see PMU as a craft. And this is a craft that demands respect and demands your full attention and full-time hours, beyond full-time hours, if you want to develop. And you have to be prepared and ready and okay with making those mistakes in the beginning, you know, and get over those humps to get to where you need to be with, with your depth and your saturation.
If you never fail, how are you supposed to learn?
Right. And clients, do you think clients want to heal and see pink? Do you think clients want to have to come back every 6 months, every 10 months, every year?
I was just going to say that. I'm like, clients do not want to come back every 6 months or every year. And then if you're doing touch-ups every 6 months or every year, how much scar tissue and damage are you causing to that skin?
A ton.
I don't want to see my clients probably for 2-3 years. I don't want to see them.
Well, and we don't 2 or 3 years at all.
Come back later.
And that's normal for us. And I think some people have the misconception, well, you know, if my brows last that long, then I'm not making, you know, refresh fees. But
no, that's when you're getting word of mouth and people are coming to you because they're like, oh my God, her shit lasts.
Exactly, Michonne. Exactly. Exactly.
Why waste my money?
Exactly. The minute a client finds out yours is only lasting 10 months to a year, but the girl down the road, oh my God, her work is just as beautiful and it's lasting 2 or 3 years, she's leaving you. She's switching and she's leaving you.
Ari just had a phone call from someone that went to a different artist, and she was my client, went to a different artist, fell out in 6 months, and now she's coming back with the tails between her legs.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it happens all the time here. all the time. I mean, it does. You know, they end up with half eyebrow because, you know, they're not putting the ombre brow in deep enough or saturated enough. They're coming in with these half eyebrows or things falling out, you know, in 10 months or 6 months or a year, or pink brows, you know. And there's a little technique that you can do to test whether it's really pigment or not. And that's when your client comes in and if it looks pink, stretch, you know, put a thumb on
each side
of that brow and stretch. And does that pink, red or orange, go away?
Disappears.
Does it disappear? And if it does, that is not pigment, my friend. That is wounded, pink, tender, scar tissued skin. And the reason you're seeing it is because you didn't go deep enough, or you didn't saturate enough, or both.
And you can even do that technique and see how your saturation is too. Yes,
absolutely. While you're working on an eyebrow. Right. But I think Instagram has been, you know, maybe not so helpful.
That's rainbows and lollipops.
That's rainbows. Yeah, I call it like La La Land.
So it's glossed over.
It's glossed over, and people only post the pretty shit, us included, right? Me included. If I have a pair of brows and they don't heal good, I'm not posting them. Right? But Girls Inc., we post a lot of.
But I'll post some shit.
I was gonna say, Michonne definitely posts a lot of bruised and bloody people, and she's like, "This is real life.
This is real life." Yeah.
But it's pretty, okay?
Yep.
Yeah, and you know, and you shadow Michonne, and you do one-on-one trainings, and you shadow. And Stephanie, you're probably going to be offering that next year, I would imagine.
I hope so.
Yes, and that's what I would encourage these young techs. If some of the stuff that we've talked about today and have said kind of hit home with you, don't be upset. Don't be mad at us. Don't get mad. We're telling the truth. And I wanted to do this podcast. We were going to do a podcast today on eyeliner, but we'll do that next week. But I just. It just bothers me. It really, really bothers me that no one's telling the truth with a megaphone. These young generation of techs are not being told the truth. They're not. And every time one of them hears me speak or you speak, and it happens all the time, we get these private messages, "Oh my God, thank you so much. I needed to hear that. That makes sense." But as a whole, they're not getting the message. Nobody's telling them, or some of them are getting the message and they just don't want to listen. They're too afraid. They're afraid of scar tissuing. They're causing scar tissue. They're afraid of getting gray. They're afraid of going to their fear. They're tattooing eyebrows from a fear-based place, not from a place of confidence and proper technique. And that fear is always going to keep you from reaching your goals, whether it's PMU technique, or it's going to be financial, or things you want to accomplish for yourself, speaking in front of people, dreams. Fear is always what blocks you from success and moving forward. It's a roadblock, and I'm seeing that a lot right now. And and I feel bad for the young tech that is just not, that's being told that, paying thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars to be taught those techniques, only to get out into the real world and find those techniques were, not proper techniques, and they don't work.
Well, also,
cash grab.
Yeah.
It's a cash grab, yeah.
And then there's a bunch of people that are just learning permanent makeup and then teaching.
Yes.
But then they're not teaching like the real fundamentals. Like
they're not teaching fundamentals.
You're not teaching them what they really need to know.
No.
And then there's just a bunch of people just scratching the surface, but they're doing it for the money.
There's a lot of,
there's no passion.
There's no passion. It's all about money, and they don't want to deal with a model maybe healing with a gray brow, or, they want to eliminate that risk. And so they're teaching all these newbies tattoo shallow, no blood, don't saturate, you know, because then it's easy for the trainer. I mean, when you're a hardcore trainer and you're teaching these students, I mean, look at me and Amber, look at me and you. We do these classes and we got their needle extended out. We're making them go proper depth.
They always get really scared when
They
I
get
do
really
that.
super scared. And what do we hear all the time? Oh my God, that's not what I was taught. I was taught it shouldn't get swollen. I was taught this, I was taught that.
I was taught it shouldn't scab.
It shouldn't scab. I know, what the fuck is that?
I'm sorry, anybody that's watching this. I'm a very oily person, and when I get my eyebrows done, I have the thickest, gnarliest scabs. And I know not everybody
You do.
has scabs
And
like that.
I did not expect you to bleed like that when I first did your brows.
Like some people have like a light flaking, and then some people like me have heavy, gross scabs, and it's normal.
Yeah.
It's normal.
Exactly.
Scabs are normal.
Exactly. And a lot of people come to our classes because they're just fucking tired of their clients healing with no results, because their clients get pissed off at them. Their clients want their money back. And look, it's a small world now. So all you techs out there that are not getting good healed results and have to do it 3 or 4 times, they're going to come across my Instagram page. They're going to come across Amber's, yours, Michonne, yours, Stephanie, yours, Amy's. They're going to come across all these Instagram pages and Facebook pages where, what? What?
Yeah, when I get those people that are
Yeah.
hating on my powder brows because they're so saturated.
Yeah,
Well,
you
guess
mean I
what?
don't
They
have to
stay
do
in.
3 or 4 touch-ups? You mean brows can last 2 or 3 years? I mean, and that's what's happening. That's how a lot of people end up finding us, because it's not lasting, or they have to do 3, 4 touch-ups for Pete's sake. And you're going to kill their skin. You're going to destroy their skin. So, yeah.